Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa says that the public has given an opportunity to decide if the development program launched by the government is correct. He expressed this view at a function in the Alhara area in Polonnaruwa this morning.
The function was held to recommence renovation work on the Alhara Kulama tank in Polonnaruwa. Funds amounting to 150 million rupees have been allocated for the renovation of the tank, which provides water to around 450 acres of paddy land. Tell us whether building tanks is correct or not. Tell us whether providing you with electricity is right or wrong. You decide whether the carpeted roads that were restricted to major cities now reaching your villagers is right or wrong. You have been given the opportunity to decide on the 8th of September whether spending nearly 265,000 rupees on each family in your area for development is the right or wrong thing.
The pinnacle of the Alpitiya Divituru Uttara Pabbatarama Vihara was unveiled yesterday. Former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca, United National Party parliamentarian Karu Jayasuriya and former Chief Justice Sarathan Silva participated in the unveiling ceremony.
I think I had more freedom than you during my 2.5 years in prison. Even though you live outside the prison walls, you do not even have the freedom I had in prison. I spoke to the media in public. I voiced all my opinions, but no one could attack me. However, if you publicly express your political views, it is uncertain as to what fate you will have to face. Today, our society and political culture are in an era where wealth and power are recognized ahead of humanity and good qualities. What we want is to create a society which understands what is correct and respects truth and justice.
Thereafter, the group, including Sarath Fonseca, participated in a public meeting in the Batapola area in Gaul.
There was a common opposition for the elections in 2009 and 2010. Why can't we build this common opposition now? It is you who should act on this. You should influence the UNP parliamentarians in this area and the UNP leaders in provincial councils to come together to create a common opposition. Sarath Fonseca, who risked his life to save the country from terrorism, is the only hero who can guide a common opposition.
A protest was held opposite the Speaker's official residence today, calling on the authorities to defeat the conspiracies against the Divinagama Department Bill.
The protest was organized by the AUSAL Samurdhi Development and Agriculture Research Assistance Association. The protesters allege that certain trade unions attached to the Samurdhi movement are acting against the implementation of the Divinagama Department Bill. The group handed over a letter to Speaker Chamal Rajapaksa. Attempts are being made to insist that this bill be passed by a 2/3 majority and at a referendum. Various other conditions are being suggested. We are asking the government not to get discouraged and to enact this bill immediately. Today we passed a message to the government that the Samurdhi movement is ready to gather thousands of people to support the government when it faces challenges. The United National Party expressed its views in this regard at a media briefing today.
The government is out of funds and hence they are going in search of funds. They check the EPF and try to take it over. They then realize that there are funds in the Samurdhi. When taking into consideration the funds in a number of institutes and the Samurdhi, there is 3,600 billion rupees. They cannot steal it easily. Therefore, they are attempting to abolish Samurdhi and introduce a Divinagama Act to bring these funds under the control of the minister. Therefore, they will abolish the Samurdhi for sure.
An explosion of music and culture at the Colombo Music Festival. We will have details of this story later on in the bulletin.
You're watching news. First up next is Action TV.
The first residents of this home, built with funds left over from the monies collected to host a celebration to mark the reign of King George V of the United Kingdom in 1936, were 6 middle-aged bachelors and spinsters. This home, which was in operation even after the reign of King George V, through the 10-year reign of his son, King George VI, and the 60-year reign of Queen Elizabeth II, now provides shelter for 68 senior citizens, giving them comfort in their twilight years. This elders' home, which has a royal foundation, still lays claim to the protection of the state. Thereby, the Department of Social Services provides this home with a sum of 10 rupees per day per resident on a monthly basis. It could be said that a famous wealthy individual residing in Panadura had a good understanding of the value of this monthly support from the state on the basis of an act of generosity on his part. 52 years have now passed since this generous act. This act of generosity on the part of the wealthy benefactor Dawson Herman Salgado was to gift a 3-acre 16-perch plot of land, including a farm, to this elders' home. As a result, this elders' home has also received a part of the produce and revenue from the family, who for 52 years have farmed on this land on a peasant-hold basis. This individual, who is the third generation of this family to have farmed this land on a peasant-hold basis, has been made to face acts of thuggery and oppression over the past 16 years, which were not limited in intention to depriving him of his peasant hold. They were asking me to give it up so a sports ground can be built. It is not mine to give up, it is part of the elders' home too. Due to this individual's determination to not only protect his peasant hold, several attempts to deprive this elders' home of the land which provides nourishment have been foiled. However, after this signboard was put up on the 9th of this month, in accordance with a Gazette notification dated the 25th of May, this land has become a prohibited zone not only to him, but to this herd of buffalo, whose habitat it was. This also means that this farm, which has provided revenue and livelihood to these people for 52 years, has now been denied to the King George V Memorial Elders Home in Panadura.
Petrol increased by 12 rupees, diesel by 31 rupees, kerosene by 35 rupees. Fuel concession granted to fishermen. Multi-day and single-day fishing vessels will receive a concession of 12 rupees per litre for diesel. A concession of 25 rupees will be provided for kerosene. Did fish prices decrease after these concessions? We hear they receive the full concession, but we need to earn for a week in order to buy fish for one meal. They want us to provide fish at a cheap price. However, we need to engage in this trade, and this fuel concession is not enough. Did the fuel concession benefit either the fisherman or the consumer?
In business news this evening, the governor of the central bank, Ajit Nimad Kabral, says that it would be possible to record an excess in the balance of payment by the end of this year. He expressed this view at a business meeting in Colombo today.
The meeting was held with the aim of providing know-how and facilities for the youth projects underway in the country. It was organized by the American Chamber of Commerce. A group of bank officials participated in the meeting.
There were some who panicked by saying, this trade deficit is going to be out of control. We knew all along that the trade deficit, if it needs to be tweaked, it can be. And you could see that the measure that we took in February did ensure that the trade deficit will come down in time to come. So that means our exchange rate policy also will be then supported with that trade deficit being reduced. Trade deficit being reduced will also ensure, with the investments that are coming in, that our current account will not have such a deficit as we had last year, and then we will end up with a balance of payments surplus this year.